You know, you guys, truth be told, I really never thought I'd see myself living in the world that we currently are today. And when I say this, I mean it in a sense where Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier in 2022. Now believe me, after hearing all of the trade rumors, reported offers, and nonsense that had been flying around all offseason regarding Donovan Mitchell, and even with Cleveland being one of the top suitors through and through in this race, I just never thought we'd see it happen. But I'm telling you right now that I could not be happier to be wrong about this, and I am extremely excited for this team. Because while it should be crystal clear to almost anyone that watches basketball that this trade absolutely makes the Cleveland Cavaliers that much better, there are still many different aspects regarding this trade, whether you want to consider them positives or negatives, that I don't think many people are fully understanding about this. And why this trade might just be crazier than some people think. Let's get into it. One sec though, guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to never miss another NBA video. Love you guys. And trust me, for any of you guys that haven't done so yet, now is a better time than ever, because according to my numbers, over 95% of you guys that are coming back to actually watch the content haven't even subscribed yet. Regardless though, I appreciate all of you. But anyway, let's get back on topic with the Cleveland Cavaliers, who, if you didn't see the full trade details of what they just pulled off yesterday, I'll just briefly refresh everyone's memory. Because in the pure definition of a blockbuster trade, the Cleveland Cavaliers acquired Donovan Mitchell in exchange for Lauri Markkenen, Collin Sexton, first-round pick Ochai Agbaji, 3 unprotected first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. And while this might seem like a haul regarding what was given up to acquire Donovan Mitchell, I believe it's even more important from the perspective of Cleveland in terms of what they didn't have to give up to acquire the 3-time All-Star. Because when you're talking about a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who's coming straight off of a season averaging 26, 4, and 5 per game at just 25 years old, my honest initial reaction was that Cleveland definitely had to give up one of their current 3 cornerstone pieces. And whether that was going to be their 22-year-old All-Star, their 24-year-old All-Star, or their potential young rising superstar on their team, I was just waiting to see which one of them was going to be on the move. But clearly that was not the case. But instead, Cleveland has seemingly formed one of the best young and most anticipating starting fives that we've seen in the league in quite some time. I mean, seriously, with a starting 5 like this, Donovan Mitchell is going to be the oldest player on the front line. And while I'm already counting down the days until we're able to see this team live in action, there are definitely many different key components about this trade that need to be talked about. Because first things first, when we're talking about a Cleveland Cavaliers team who already shocked a ton of people last year regarding where they finished, it seems in my eyes at least that Donovan Mitchell adds something to this Cleveland Cavaliers team that was desperately wanted at many different points last year, and that simply being a proven star that can get you a bucket when you need it. And when I say this, it is no shot whatsoever at guys like Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, or Evan Mobley, and while they all had very solid averages across the board last season, I think it can be widely agreed upon that these guys are still very clearly growing and improving as players. And it's also not like with me saying this that I'm implying Donovan Mitchell has already peaked, but he is most certainly a guy, even still at such a young age, that has more experience than almost anyone on your team besides maybe Kevin Love coming off of your bench. And it's also not like Mitchell's going to be just coming in and hucking up all the shots. In fact, his numbers are probably going to drop at least a small amount this season with having to share the ball with all of these young stars. But is it going to be detrimental to anybody? Absolutely not. In fact, when you're comparing a backcourt of Mitchell and Garland side by side to how Garland and Sexton looked, the idea of a new look backcourt in these two that is only going to have improved playmaking, scoring ability, and even handling the basketball, it's pretty much just a 100% win in this sense. But if we stay on the topic of this new backcourt duo, there's definitely also some negatives regarding them that people have not been afraid to already bring up. With the biggest of these negatives easily being the fact that you have 2 6'1" guards defending your perimeter, and on top of that, the lackluster defense that has been been seen from Donovan Mitchell over the last couple of years. And there's relatively nothing to dispute regarding these comments, as it is true Donovan Mitchell has really only been an offensive threat in his time in Utah, but I think people also need to consider that the reason he might not have been as big of a threat on the defensive side of the ball was the fact that most of his energy was needed to go into his offensive play. Because ever since entering the league in 2018, and the numbers can definitely back this up, the offense has almost always completely ran through him. I'm definitely not trying to say that his poor play on defense was 100% the Utah Jazz's fault in how they operated, and also into a defensive-minded team like the Cavs are right now, with one of the craziest front court duos in terms of defense you could possibly have right now. I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that we will definitely see some improvement from Donovan Mitchell in this aspect this year. And in the trade-off of adding an offensive threat like Mitchell, I really just see it in the sense of evening out this team in terms of being an equal threat on both sides of the ball. But I will say also, something that I've seen people say frequently since this trade actually occurred was that this trade dug heavily into the potential depth that this Cleveland Cavaliers team might have had this year. And to this, I will say while Lauri Markkenen was definitely a solid piece that contributed to the Cavs' success last year, Collin Sexton, besides his injured season last year, only seemed to continually improve since entering the league. And also, while I am personally a huge fan of Ochai Agbaji, I just don't think the loss of some of these teams' bench pieces that we've mentioned are nearly as serious as some people are trying to make it out to be. Because even after this trade, the Cavaliers bench as currently constructed still includes guys like Caris Levert, Kevin Love, Ricky Rubio, along with Cedi Osman, newly acquired Robin Lopez, and even guys like Lamar Stevens. My point being, while the bench unit for the Cleveland Cavaliers last year was a massive aspect of their team, I really don't see anything changing this season in that regard. Because even when we are discussing this team operating their second unit with some of the guys currently on the screen, people also seem to quickly forget that with very similar backcourt pieces like Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, along with also very interchangeable frontcourt pieces as well in Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, we are most certainly going to be seeing some of these guys running with the second unit a lot more than some people would maybe expect. I'll just say that with some of the brilliance we saw from JB Bickerstaff last season, it is going to be so entertaining to see what he's going to be able to do this year. All in all though, you guys, when considering everything with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the absolute shock to the entire NBA world that they just pulled off, does this trade make them immediate championship contenders? I think that answer will vary depending on who you ask, but regardless of your opinion on that question, you cannot deny the fact that this team currently possesses one of the brightest futures out of any franchise in the game today. But I don't know, you guys, in terms of if it's actually going to be a success, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Regardless though, and as always, I am extremely curious to hear what you all have to think about this situation. So please let me know in the comments, where do you expect the Cavs to finish in the Eastern Conference this season, both record-wise and standing-wise? And also, I am extremely curious to hear this one. Do you guys see this team at least making the NBA Finals or winning a championship within the next 5 years? But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down below and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and of course, subscribe while you're down there. We're still coming out with brand new videos every single week around here, you guys. The 2023 season is almost here, so just believe me when I say it, you do not want to miss out. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.